thought we were done climbing.
In last week's episode, our crew was dropped off by float plane to the start of our month-long canoe journey from Great Slave Lake to the Arctic Ocean. The first 3 days were spent portaging the ancient Pike's Portage, where we hauled over 800 pounds of gear and food to Artillery Lake. Here, we quickly learned why the Northwest Territories is known as a wilderness paradise. This is the gateway to the Arctic.
Woke up to some eerie conditions on Artillery Lake. We got some rain on the horizon that we can see coming down the lake. It goes from calm to gusty, so we might get wet today. Might cool off a little bit.
What a beautiful world. Oh, you're stopping.
It's pretty crazy what the weather has been doing. You can see these pockets of rain coming down, and we're about to paddle through one coming up very shortly here, but then there's blue sky in another direction.
We're getting to the main section of the lake, and we all around the same time started feeling how chilly the wind was getting. And on the horizon there, you can actually still see ice on the lake. Like the temperature must have dropped instantly 5-10 degrees.
That's crazy. It's still thick. In the horizon, we could see some seagulls sitting on the water. It looked like maybe a sandbar or something that we were coming up to. And then when we got closer, we realized it was actually ice. There's still ice on this lake, and we just paddled through our first little patch of it. And I think there's gonna be a lot more where that came from. Definitely explains the drop in the temperature, and also the water here is absolutely freezing. And I have a feeling that that's only gonna get colder the further that we get out as well.
Big old bear dumps.
Is that what those are?
Yeah.
Hello there!
I can't imagine how big the ice chunks must be pushing up against that.
Well, in the winter, it would be at least 10 feet thick.
Man, we are in the barrens.
Trying to shake it.
Oh, you have him snagged on the side.
No, do I?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh, it's a beauty one too.
That's awesome.
Really nice pattern on.
It is. He's freezing cold. It's a cold fish. That makes me feel good. He wasn't bleeding or anything.
So the rock that we're going to be traveling throughout this entire trip is known as the Slave Craton. And that's a Precambrian metamorphosized volcanic rock that's dated to be around 2.5 billion years old. But there's one outcrop that scientists found about 300 kilometers north of Yellowknife that is over 4 billion years old. And that's the oldest rock in the world. Literally, the oldest rock in the world. But what makes this Slave Craton so interesting is it's one of the only places in the world where you can find diamonds near the Earth's surface. And that's because of the geological structure of the craton, as well as the chemical composition of the mantle below it. Even in terms of crustal standards, the Slave Craton is about 300 kilometers thick, and that puts a lot of pressure on the mantle below it. So much so that it pressurizes that mantle to crystallize into diamonds. And that's because the magma down there has a lot of carbon in it, and that's what you need for diamonds. But the thing is, these diamonds are still 300 kilometers below the Earth's surface, so it's not feasible to mine. But because of all that pressure, there can be minor eruptions. And this magma actually comes up cracks and fractures through the crust to the surface, up these geological structures known as kimberlite pipes. And that's what geologists and prospectors look for when they're looking for mines in this area, are these kimberlite pipes. And this is one of the only places in the earth where you can find these diamonds in the kimberlite pipes near the earth's surface.
We're starting to see even more ice along the route that we're traveling right now, and it's forcing us in towards the shore. We don't want to go on the outside of this ice, forcing us into the middle of the lake, because who knows what could happen out there. We could get trapped, and then we're at the mercy of the weather. So we're going to stick as close to the shoreline as we can and hope that there's a clear path the whole way just along the shoreline.
Get back in the boat when you break it. There we go.
The ice has boxed us in. We're not able to get by in this particular spot. We're actually gonna go climb a hill nearby to see if we can scope out the rest of the lake, because if we continue on down this path and it just continues to choke up like this with ice, this might be the wrong side of the lake to take, or we might need to come up with like a different strategy.
As far as the eye can see, we're iced out, so we're hoping we can follow the shoreline all the way down, but we don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a long stretch there where there's no open water.
Just even while we're scouting here, you can see the wind pushing the ice, which we also need to factor into our decision about which way we take. It looks like the ice could continue to pinch us this way, but the winds could shift and all of a sudden pinch us the other way.
Maybe we give her and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Like that might stop ice from flowing in. They might like clog it up a bit.
Here, if we can get up to the islands, there's like a 30-kilometer channel between the islands and the shore. There's open water here. We just need to get in here, and then we have all of this will be open. We can get up to here, and then we'll probably hit a wall. The biggest part of the lake, we'll probably hit a wall of ice again. And the wind is supposed to go. The wind has been blowing west, which is why we have ice here. But tomorrow the wind is supposed to go south, which will blow it all to the other side of the lake.
We might have a window.
So we'll have a window. Tomorrow is Thursday. We'll have a good window to blast it, because the wind has been blowing to this side of the lake.
Yeah.
We got to a point where the ice is right up against shore, and we are iced out. So we're gonna dress into our dry pants and try to walk our boats through these little chunks of ice. What we have on our side is it's not just one big flat piece of ice, it's chunks. So we might be able to move some around it to find a path. But we want to get to that island far, far in the distance there. That's sort of the goal, because we know behind that island there's a decent amount of open water to paddle when we scoped it with the binoculars a little farther back. It's just getting to that point, that's going to be the slog.
We've been absolutely grinding all afternoon, trying to push through as far as we can with the ice and just make as much distance as we can. We think this ice is going to be breaking up pretty soon, but we don't really have the luxury to just wait for that to happen. So we need to continue to push, and we're going a little bit slower than a walking pace right now, but we don't have to carry weight on our shoulders. We are making headway with relatively minimal effort. We're just taking turns swapping people in and out of the boats, trying to give a few people a break and then a few people on. We're just gonna keep doing what we can.
We've been going it for about 3 hours, and we're halfway to the point where we think we'll be ice-free. We're pretty much going 1 kilometer an hour here, so we're hoping we'll be there for dinner.
Boys! We made it.
Good job, brother.
Took a little bit longer than we thought, but we made it.
We made it to the beach. There's this big mountain that's almost like a peninsula, and when we scouted it way back about 10 kilometers, there looked to be open water on the other side. We're gonna cross our fingers because this might make or break the trip if it's all frozen in.
Dude, that's looking pretty good. No way. Oh, that is some good news. That is some good news. So we climbed a hill next to camp to get a better vantage, to get an idea of what we're dealing with tomorrow. Taking a look at from here, the good news is we see a lot of open water. We get to start our day with a little bit of a paddle tomorrow, but we'll have to see what we end up running into a little bit further down the lake.
What do you see in the binocs?
In the far, far distance, we see what looks to be a big sheet of thick ice. Very, very white, not like this broken up stuff here. Again, we're very far away, so maybe it's an illusion. We hope it's an illusion. Maybe if it is a big sheet of ice, maybe we'll be able to paddle the shorelines, because typically those melt first. All of these things we're not going to be able to answer until we're up there, and we'll just have to kind of see what we end up, the cards we end up getting dealt on that one. It's open for the next little while, but there's still a question mark in the distance. Okay. Which is like, we can show you on the camera. We have a little bit of a patch over there, nothing compared to like what we did today. Okay. But then once we're through that, we've got like a nice stretch of paddling, and then far, far, far distance, like binocular distance. Yeah. Question mark, like we just see white, and it looks like it could just be like literally a solid block of ice.
Exactly what I thought, where the lake gets bigger.
Yeah, where the lake opens up. So maybe that's still like the thick ice of the winter, but
We just need the wind to go offshore then.
yeah.
Oh,
So
fingers crossed.
fingers crossed, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
But at least we get to have our breakfast tomorrow morning and start with a paddle.
Oh. You go with a white sauce?
Yeah. Garlic, like rosé, or garlic Alfredo.
We had dinner, we did our chores, we all jumped in the water, and we heard a crack of thunder. And now the wind picked up and it looks like we're gonna get hit with some serious rain. So we battened down the hatch and we're gonna put her to bed. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's all hope for clear passage.
That one, that was really good.
It's gonna be another hot one today. When we woke up, we already started to notice that the ice is starting to melt, which is a great sign. How much changed to the ice just over 12 hours gives us a lot of hope. And with how hot it is, I don't know how there can still be ice here, but there's sections where it's still like 6 inches thick. This morning we're gonna portage over the spit to the open side of the lake there, and then try to sneak around the back. Last night we scouted this area and there was ice. There's no ice now, so we're optimistic.
Come on, buddy. It's my fish. It's not my fish.
Nice, that's a fatty. That's dinner?
That's dinner, yeah.
We might have got closed out again with the ice.
We had a pretty good morning of paddling too. The ice has completely blocked us in once again. We're talking it over as a team. Yesterday we made it about 5 kilometers in 6 hours of really hard work, breaking through the ice and pushing our way through.
We're gonna scout the far point to see if we can see how far this ice goes.
There's a lot of ice out there. Way more than I would have guessed. You know, Great Slave, which is only 40 kilometers from here and bigger, is all open. And then you look and it's like white ice you can walk on. I don't know. I think we need to do some scheming on what the plan is. What's plan B, Noah?
I actually can't believe how much white we're seeing.
Yeah, it's not even like patchy or anything.
There's a little bit of unknowns or variables with how this plays out and how much of an impact this has on our overall trip. Every day that we need to wait for the ice to melt is setting us behind schedule. We need to be hitting about 33 kilometers a day on average to make the trip happen in the time that we have for it. And you know, every day that we miss on that is basically just adding more distance to each of those days. It's gonna be interesting. It's a bit of a confusing time right now. We're gonna go back to camp and just kind of regroup and try to figure out a strategy and come up with some kind of plan Bs just in the event that this ice is out here longer than we think. It's looking pretty thick, pretty far out there. We're not even in the biggest part of Artillery Lake yet. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out.
can still see how thick it is here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of holes, but it's at least 4 or 5 inches. So it's now an official rest day for us. And unlike most rest days when there's a heavy wind or strong rain, it's a pretty beautiful day. So we're gonna make the best use of the day and do a little fishing.
The wind shifting directions. We've got a really hot day today, so hopefully another great day of melt. That it'll be more beneficial for our time to be spent relaxing here, taking it easy, than getting another 5 to 10 kilometers, which once this melts, we'll be able to do in 2 hours.
Alex, you could probably transfer to this one. It's like a red carpet into shore.
I don't know that it is. So the one benefit to having a lake filled with ice is that we could keep our fish fresh by putting it on ice.
They're so red.
Yeah, it's like salmon, man. Cutting up some lake trout. It's so pink, you'd think it was salmon. We caught this one this morning and we were like, holy shit, that's pink. And now the second one is even pinker. It's unbelievable.
First of all, this is a cool piece of ice because it's showing how it has been thawing on the lake. We are going to take advantage of this ice once again since it is kind of keeping us trapped right now. We're going to also use this ice in our whiskey tonight and have a toast to the lake gods and the weather gods who are all going to be on our side thawing this bad boy up.
Oh, bartender here.
Cheers to the wind.
Cheers
to the Sulcata. The weather gods being on our side.
And the trout.
And the trout.
And the fishermen that caught it.
Cheers, boys.
I think you just need to wear the glove and you need to actually man the pan.
You want it to be hot, hot, hot?
No, I don't need you to add more flame, but I just want some prepping. Whoa. Yes. Look at that. Oh. Deep fryer. Man, look at that. Yeah, it smells fantastic. You can basically probably start eating, and these ones can just cook while we're eating. Get a big one here. Something growing. Yeah. Tartar will stay, so I was thinking we could split it between 2 or 3 fish dinners, just so everybody knows.
Oh man.
Oh my god. It's like more like salmon than it is trout. It's like, look at the color on there.
This honestly might be the best camp meal that we've had.
Yeah. Dude, amazing job on it.
No worries. Thanks.
Amazing.
We got a quick weather update here. The ice situation has changed drastically in the last 15 minutes. We had a light breeze just gust in offshore and the ice just extended out. I don't know, how far is that? Like 50 yards? With just a little gust. So this is pretty good to see. We just need wind. This is the only time we're praying for wind on a big lake, but we need the wind to break up the ice, or at least push it.
My desire to swim is getting less and less. Getting up, make a big old pot.
It is the morning of day 6, and we are hoping to actually be able to paddle this morning. As you can see, with a mix of favorable wind conditions and the beating hot sun yesterday, there's no longer ice in our immediate bay here, and pretty much as far as we can see at this point. The goal today is going to be to paddle as far as the ice will possibly allow us. We know that there's some thick ice up ahead, and we're hoping that there might be a channel along the shoreline that we're able to paddle, but essentially we are just going to continue pushing as far as we possibly can and hopefully make up some distance today.
All right, Artillery Lake, what do you got for us today? We don't know what's around this corner. There might be ice, there might be open water. Last night I went to take a pee at around 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's a strong offshore wind. So hopefully that was enough to open up the ice gateway for us. This bay that we're paddling right now is the iced over section that we scouted yesterday. We're gonna keep going. Every point we're just crossing our fingers, we go around the corner and there's a nice little pathway for us. So far so good. Let's keep it going.
Take me back out for water, sir.
We've had a very productive morning so far today. We've managed to crush about 15 kilometers of distance in just a couple hours. It's only 10:30. There's still quite a bit of ice on this lake, and we're lucky because the wind has pushed it out far enough that we've been able to find a channel along shore. We're not out of the clear just yet, and every corner that we come up to is going to be a guessing game in terms of whether we'll be able to get through or not.
We parked on this beach and you can tell it's sort of terraced, and that's because of the ice pushing up against the beach. And it's really obvious here how thick the ice was based on this ridge here. There's a clear edge with a nice slope here to flat land. The ice pushed it up, creating this little terrace.
He's about to go onto the beach.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
Hey!
Maybe just back up. Hey!
Don't point that at anyone.
Can you shoot him?
Was that the bear banger?
That was a bear banger. Man, bear bangers do the trick there.
I wonder, he might be sick or something. Seems pretty sketchy.
I wondered that. Like, is there something wrong with him?
Got my heart racing a little bit.
I didn't think he'd come at us like that.
No, and he's like spinning and shit as he was coming at us.
No, that's not normal.
That was the wildest wolf experience I ever had. We saw a wolf in the distance and we thought it was really cool to see a wolf, as it is. It started coming closer and closer to us, to a point where we went from it was exciting to see a wolf to we were a little nervous for our own safety. I don't know how close it got, but it got really close to us.
Do you have any words to say about that experience?
Yeah, I mean, same as Noah. I had a wolf experience a couple of years ago on a beach, kind of similar to this, where the wolf was like walking along the beach and we were swimming. But as soon as it went into like hunter mode, the wolf in that experience like changed the way it was acting and kind of started crouching, and this wolf didn't do that like the whole kind of way. It just kind of looked like it was confused and out of it and just started coming right towards us, and a bit startling. I'm glad we had the bear banger and the gun. It all happens so quick too. That's the other thing, which is I think is a good reminder. You know, it's like wildlife experiences are really great at a distance, but it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long and like before like a wolf that's 400 meters down the beach to like running at you. Man, I had sweaty palms.
Yeah.
Heart was definitely beaten. Close call.
He's way down there now.
Yeah.
We were yelling at it and it was almost like we were calling its name. Yeah. He's like, yo, what's up?
Here, boy.
Yeah. Oh, you guys want to chill? And then like literally is just running up again.
We went back on shore and the wolf came right back for us. So we're sort of stuck between the ice edge and a mangy wolf. So we're doing the best we can. We are going to slowly work our way through the ice flow to try to get around this point where we hope there's open water while staying far and clear from this wolf. Oh my god! Don't let him under the ice.
Is it huge?
It's huge.
Yo, can you back me up?
Yeah. When he set the hook, he didn't even move. He was like, what was that? Oh! Yo, sit down, man.
There's a tank. Be good. Be good. Oh my god.
Holy smokes.
He's gonna.
Oh, man.
That is massive. Getting him back. Took off. Whew. That was wild.
There's so many things going on there.
To play him in the ice like that. He kept wanting to dive under, take off. We had to work this small little pool here to like keep him away from the ice.
And why are we this far away from shore?
Because we were currently being chased by a mangy wolf. So, might not have been the best time to throw a line in the water, but this thing was friggin' massive. Oh my god. All right, as we were, boys.
So we have a bit of a decision to make right now. The ice is really close to shore, and we're having difficulty knowing how much farther we can go. And there's this wolf here. This would be a great camping spot, but there's this wolf here that's extremely curious. We don't know what its deal is, if it has mange or it's never seen a human before, but it was acting strange. So we've been humming and hawing with what our best option is. If we go back a few kilometers and camp there, or camp on an island that's just around this corner. If we go back, we're still technically in the wolf's territory. If we go on the island, we're good. But it does take a bit of a guess to see if we can get to the island based on the ice condition. And once we go, we're sort of committed to that option. Thought about this for a little bit, and I think we're gonna go for that island. We're gonna have two guys moving the canoes through the water, pushing through the ice, and the two guys on shore on lookout just in case this wolf gets curious again.
Oh my god.
And then it looks like there is a strip of water that could get us out to that point, which is this, maybe get us as far as this point. We get there, and then if there's a clear shot over back to the beach on the far side, we'll go for it.
Yeah. I like that plan.
Oh. Now we just hit bottom.
We managed to push on a few extra kilometers beyond where we had the problem with the wolf earlier, but once again, we ended up getting iced out. The good news is, the winds have really picked up since we've landed here at camp for the night. The forecast is that the wind is supposed to be picking up to 35 kilometers an hour tomorrow from the southeast, which is exactly what we want. Already, since the wind has picked up, we're already seeing ice push out of this bay away from the shore. Our hope is that tomorrow morning we'll have more of a clear pathway to hopefully be able to get ourselves to the end of the lake. For now, we're kind of at the mercy of the weather, and we're gonna hunker down for the night. The other nice thing about this wind is that there's no bugs right now, which is a huge reprieve, and just cross our fingers that that wind is gonna be favorable and push that ice out for us.